You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
I want to thank you for joining me on this Friday review, episode number 504. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about today a few products I actually use in my wellness practice, as well as our body transformation practices in Boston. Some of those things that we use to help clients open up tight hips, to open up tight mid-back so they can get a little bit more tension relief from their shoulders and mid-backs. Really great products. Quick product review on those today. But before we do that, what I'd like to do is I want to bring you some of this technology of why you see so many people now, wearing the BlueBlocker glasses, and why you see Hollywood celebrities at night going out wearing these glasses, the black frames, the yellow tinted lenses. Is this all hype? Is this just media hype? What really is this? Is there any reason why people are actually doing this? And so what I want to do is I want to start with that, because I like to give you the unbiased opinion of why people might be doing it. And then, is it even really necessary? Because you don't want to do everything in your life. You just want to do what's important for you. So here's the interesting thing, is that we're finding that typically, let's go back for the entire human existence before digital-based media. We could go out and in the sunlight, we're going to get an entire spectrum from the sun of these things called visible light waves. And they run from anywhere around 380 nanometers to 700 nanometers. That's the wavelength that we're looking at. The shorter wavelengths are going to be the blue light. We'll talk about that in just a moment. The longer visible light is going to be more of like the orange and the red. Because when you look at a rainbow, basically it starts with the red, the orange, the yellow, it goes to green, then it goes to blue, and then it goes to purple. So what we're looking at are all of the visible colors that we can see from visible light, from the sun. But then before that, we have the infrared light, like in an infrared sauna. And then after that, we have ultraviolet light where it's invisible based radiation from the sun. What we're talking about today is the blue light. And why is that so important? Well, of course, it's not dangerous from sunlight. It's totally normal, meaning like it's actually highly beneficial to get outside in the morning, take a walk, be exposed to the sunlight. Or if you're in a winter-based area, it's a little dreary, whatever it might be, that's when you want those wake light boxes or the light boxes that actually help people with seasonal affective disorder. Just tune back in for previous Friday reviews. I've spoken about those before. You can just always go to stephencabral.com/podcasts for all those previous shows. But why are we trying to block out the blue rays then? Well, here's why. It's because when we are exposed to computer screens, phones, anything LED, LCD, the plasma screens, digital media in general, TVs at night, we're getting a massive abundance of these blue lights, okay, this blue light spectrum. So why is this important? Well, it's causing macular degeneration, is causing retina-based issues, is causing cataract-based issues, is causing eye strain. Our eyes were not equipped to stare within 2 feet of a computer screen or phone all day long, and that's the issue. So my recommendation right now, if you're someone that uses a computer all day long, is to wear these BlueBlocker glasses at least for part of the day. And the reason is it's tremendous. Once you put them on, all of a sudden it creates a different contrast. It allows for that eye strain to go down. And again, it's really simple, right? You're just wearing these very simple BlueBlocker glasses that are blocking out these blue rays. But when is the most important time, really? Well, the most important time is an hour or two before bed. And here's why. If you are still being exposed to blue light rays, again, which would not happen if you were outside, right? If you were outside, the sun's setting. So you're not going to get the blue waves. What's happening is this. You are still producing more cortisol and you're producing less melatonin. That's the exact opposite of how the body's supposed to work. So if we're looking at the natural diurnal rhythm, if we're looking at how do we improve our ability to fall asleep, to rejuvenate the body, to start the healing process, to produce more melatonin, is to actually sense that our body's getting less of the blue rays through the eyes. That's how we sense it. Okay, it's nighttime. We're starting to produce this thing called melanopsin, which is then going to produce the more melatonin in our body. And that happens by blocking out these blue rays. So literally, it can be as simple as, yes, you can still watch TV an hour or so before bed, even though I do like to reduce the stimulus before bed, but just pop on a pair of these BlueBlocker glasses. Really simple, easy to do. And honestly, the technology's come so much that the glasses are much lighter besides those like old school BlueBlockers. One of the pairs that I'm actually wearing right now as we're doing this podcast, because I'm staring at a computer screen, so I decided why not wear them myself, are the Swanwick glasses. So the Swanwick glasses specifically are a little bit more stylish. I mean, that's the big thing about them versus a lot of others. They're almost like a Ray-Ban style, which I really like because I like Ray-Ban sunglasses in general, but they're super light. So they're easy to wear. You don't really notice them on your face the whole time. I think that's very helpful, as well for people, is just saying, okay, I'll wear them, but I don't want it like something clunky or big, wearing these specifically on my face. Okay, so I don't want to spend too much time on this, but what I'd like to do is just give you a referral for this. The pair that I'm wearing right now are their best-selling SwanwickSleep.com. That's the name of the website. And I'm wearing the Swannies, and it's their bestseller. So literally, you'll know because they look exactly like Ray-Bans. They're both for men and women. They make a black frame, and they also have a tortoise shell frame. So you can get that. Then you can also get a small, if you have a smaller face. They have the regular. I'm just wearing the regular because of a regular face. And then they have a kid size as well. So I think they're excellent. Really do like them. I'm just going to keep them on my desk. So I also have a pair for home, and I'm pretty simple guy. I don't like to think too much. So some at home. I have one at work, and these are on sale right now for I believe $20 off. And again, they get great reviews. So what I'll do is I'm going to link them up on the podcast today, and they are literally the same ones that you see a lot of Hollywood celebrities wearing, people in the media wearing. They are not overly expensive. They're somewhere around, I would think, between $50 and $69 or so. And I'll link them up. See what you think about them. If you enjoy them, let me know. I'll definitely be wearing mine and sharing you some more of my tips. But I'll tell you, last thing on this is that it actually makes viewing TV or your phone or looking at a computer screen more enjoyable. And you won't really know that until you look through it because it changes the contrast. It's not like 3D or anything, but it almost like immediately relieves any type of squinting or strain. You'll get your own opinion. You'll try them out for yourself, but that's what I found. You can go to SwanwickSleep.com. It's SWAN. WICK sleep.com, or just go to the link, just go to SteveCabral.com/504. That's where I'm going to put everything in, and I'll actually link to the pair that I have. All right, so next up is I want to go over two products that we're using right now to help with muscle tension in our clients. So for many years, we were using something called a MyoBall, and we still use it. It's basically it's a styrofoam type ball, so it's the same thing a foam roller is made out of, and usually it's a closed cell so that it's antimicrobial. And what you do is, just like the foam rolling video that I put out before, is that you are actually rolling on your hips. You kind of, if you can picture yourself sitting down in this small 6-inch ball, you're leaning all your glutes, so your weight on one side of your butt basically onto this ball, and it's helping you to massage and open up your hip. Why is that important? Here's the reason why. A lot of people right now are dealing with knee issues or lower back issues, especially the lower back. And the reason is their hips are all locked up. They forget because we've never really been taught, unless you really look into exercise physiology and you've studied exercise physiology and human physiology and the anatomy, is that our lower back is actually supposed to be pretty solid and stable, but our hips are supposed to be mobile. The problem is our hips become stiff because we don't walk with proper form, we don't exercise with proper form, and we sit all day. And we sit all day, our hips get locked up. Our glute medius, our glute minimus, our glute maximus, our piriformis, all the hip internal rotators, all of those muscles just get stiff. And over time, that locks up our entire hip mobility complex and affects our lower back. Because if your hips are locked up, well, then your lower back has to start to use a little bit more mobility or flexibility in order to twist. That's when you can get injured. So we still use the MyoBall. Again, it's great, but for those people who have been using the MyoBall for a while, and again, I'll link this up in the show notes. Really simple. It's a 6-inch ball that we use that just help open and roll open the hips. So we've been using that forever. But then we had clients transition to a lacrosse ball. Now, a lacrosse ball is much smaller. It's maybe like 3 inches in diameter or so. That's really solid and really helps to open up the hips. But we wanted an intermediary, like between those two, so that you didn't have to jump to such a severe, like a stronger modality for opening up the hips, which would be the lacrosse ball. Well, a company called, I believe it's just called SuperNova. That's the name of the ball. It's SuperNova. SuperNova. I believe it's by Rogue Fitness. Don't quote me on that, but that is what I believe it is. And again, we're going to link it up. We have no affiliation with this company, except that it's a good product. And so we like to recommend good products. So what this ball is, it's harder than the mile ball that we use, but softer, not as deep as that lacrosse ball, which a lot of people are using. So I have a lot of personal trainers, health professionals listening right now, yoga instructors. This is a really great product. It also has traction to it. So it's not as likely for it to roll out from under your client or if you're using it yourself. So I'm going to link up for that. Really do like it. I think it's excellent. It's 4.72 inches in circumference, so smaller than that 6-inch mile ball. You can use it under your mid-back, but we use it specifically around the hips to loosen up. I'll link up to that specifically. But then we also use an incredible product. Now, again, back in the day, 17 years ago, I started using 2 tennis balls taped up with friction tape, like hockey tape. And that allowed us to put that between the shoulder blades, basically, and roll on that to start to open up what's called the thoracic area of your back. Now, what that does is it allows for more mobility in that area above your lower back. Now, again, your lower back is going to be forced to work if your hips are tight and your mid-back is tight. Well, if we just open up the hips, and now we're opening up the mid-back with this thing called the P-knot. So that's basically, it's a new version of what we used to use old school, which was 2 tennis balls wrapped up in friction tape to help open up those tight muscles in the mid-back. So what the SuperNova does, as well as the P-knot, so literally it's P-KNOT, does is it's a form of self-massage. So a lot of people get locked up in their upper traps, like their neck area, they're above their shoulders, between their shoulder blades. They hold a lot of tension there. And that tension can cause headaches. It can cause poor posture. And so what we're looking to do, though, for our clients is to make sure we get them in proper posture so that when they're doing their exercises with us, they can do them with less chance of injury, and they can make sure that they get in the full range of motion with proper form. So that's really our goal, is to get the body function at an optimal level. And this product can absolutely help with that, because you can't go for a massage probably every day, right? That would be nice if we had that luxury of doing that. But even if you're going once a week for a massage or every other week, you need to be doing things to help open those muscles when they do get stiff. So we're a big fan of these 2 products. Again, we've been using the 2 tennis balls wrapped up in friction tape, like hockey tape, for a long time. We've been using the mile ball for a long time. Before that, we used the longer foam rollers. But now what we're looking at is just new products. Like when they become available, I want to share them with you as well. So again, we use the SuperNova for the hips, and we use something called the P-knot now for the upper body. What I'm going to do is link those up for you in the show notes today. So just go to StephenCabral.com/504, and then you'll find the links for everything that we use for all of these products. But also, what I'll do is I'll try to find some videos on these so you actually see how they're being used with people, and then you can get some ideas. But of course, you can go to YouTube yourself and type in P-knot or type in SuperNova, and you can find all sorts of different foam rolling for the hips, foam rolling for the mid-back, figure out how to use these on your own. So between the UV blocking technology, using that especially before bed and when you're at your computer for too long, especially if you're under fluorescent light, which is just total junk light, or you're on an airplane, like I'm about to get on an airplane. So I'll be using those UV BlueBlockers, plus I'll be using the more stylish ones as well. And then the SuperNova, as well as the P-knot, great products. We use them every day in our practice, which is why I want to share them with you. Hopefully you enjoyed today's show, and be back tomorrow when we answer all of our community's questions this weekend on the Cabral Host Calls. Take care, everyone. Enjoy your weekend. I want to sincerely thank you for your support of this podcast. I couldn't do it without you, and I mean that. I truly do. I also want to make sure you knew that we now have multiple ways for you to find your answers to the most difficult health, wellness, weight loss, and anti-aging questions. You can find podcast-specific topics like thyroid, adrenal, hormones, sleep, digestion, Ayurveda, and many more at stevencabral.com/podcasts that will then link you to your favorite Apple, Spotify, and other podcast players. Plus, all new podcasts and weekly exclusive video content is being added to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Stephen Cabral. And that's Stephen with a PH. Head on over and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the exclusive content. Lastly, if you've ever found any of my podcasts or books to be helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a review on iTunes or your favorite media player for the podcast. Rating and subscribing to the YouTube and podcast allow me to reach more and more people and help spread my mission of healing throughout the world. Thank you again for being a part of this movement.